Welcome back to Ohotniks' basement. I'm Pasta, again joined by Pooble over there, and
Hello.
we have another game for you here. Bit of a break, but we're back. Tropics Clan versus Pulse Nation. This one should be a banger.
Yep. Well, obviously, we have a sort of a very sort of a team with a very strong start in, I believe it was,
Pulse.
Pulse getting that 7-1, which is, a great way to start off the season. Elsewhere, Tropics didn't fare so well. 7-3 loss to Penta isn't the greatest way to start your season. Obviously, with Penta forfeiting their match today, the standings are still, anyone's game. But this is really, again, a sort of chance for Tropics to prove themselves here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's another one of those matches where these teams are trying to prove themselves. Obviously, Pulse Nation had that outstanding victory last week, but it's that question of, is it a fluke, right? Is this something that is actually transferable to the later stages? And we'll see what the community thinks about that, what the community thinks about that, whether they agree that that will continue, and indeed they do. 61% of our community on Twitter voting for for Pulse Nation even.
Yeah, that's likely a mix of just sort of the fact that we don't really know much about either of these teams, combined
No.
with a bit of just recency bias. Pulse Nation having that fantastic 7-1 start to the season, it's going to inspire confidence in the viewers, and that's clearly shown from the 61% of them believing that they're going to win this match.
Yeah, so speaking of this match, let's have a look at where we're going to play. Obviously, last week we saw a few different maps, but this week it will be Cafe Dostoevsky for Pulse, the map that they beat Yod on 7-1. It was a decisive
Yeah.
victory, and we appear to be going there again. Obviously, Tropics, they played Oregon. And I think they did actually ban that one out, if I'm looking at the map ban correctly. So yeah, they didn't really want to play there again. But the fact we've got another cafe, the sort
So
of like counterplay has got to be good, right? They've got to have studied that VOD. But
yeah.
again, it's only 8 rounds. You can't really study much from 8 rounds.
It's an incredibly large risk to go back to Cafe here, especially seeing as
Yeah.
if you go over and look at Tropics' record, they've actually lost Cafe. It wasn't in ESA, it was it was an RSX. But that's still a loss, and you compare that to the 7-1 that Pulse got, it is just
Yeah.
it's incredibly risky here because it's just essentially one side a team that doesn't seem particularly confident on Cafe, and on the other side a team that looks incredibly good on Cafe, and you can't just really rule out the fact that, well, Pulse Nation was playing a bad team because, well, Yod today
Yeah.
were fantastic.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
it really does kind of, that win previously in the day does kind of bolster Pulse Nation's 7-1 last week, because it just shows that they were actually against a pretty competent opponent and they were just incredibly proficient at Cafe.
And the thing is, as well, we saw last week, Pulse, they started on the defense. They had a 5-1 half. So well played by them. They were shutting down the aggressive entries that we saw from Yod. They had a complete handle, especially looking at like top floor. They had a complete handle on everything to play with Cafe. And they're starting on defense here again. They're a very strong side for them. Obviously, they did play 2 attacks. They won them both. But again, it's that thing. We saw them be strong on their cafe defenses. Although one thing I will admit, I was a little bit intrigued. I'm pretty sure they didn't really play the kitchen all that much. Now, obviously, they went 5-1, but we were really confused last week because Kitchen should be a strong site, and I'm pretty sure that's the defense they lost. So I could be wrong about that. Again, this is just off memory, but they kind of had a reluctance to play. I remember they had a reluctance to play a strong site. I'm pretty sure it was Kitchen, and I think that's where they lost. So that's possibly a place where Tropics might be able to find their in, is exploiting maybe some of those weaknesses if they have to try and force Pulse to go for that unlikely option.
Yeah, but you could kind of spin that the other way and say
Yeah.
it might be a weakness, but it's a weakness they haven't really seen. They've only seen one round of it, so it remains hidden by Pulse, which could could potentially result in their kitchen match being quite good, because there's just no real counter. There's no proper evidence to sort of bolster a counter strat around. And I mean, the ability to play tertiary sites, like you were saying, does just make Pulse an even stronger opponent on Cafe. So I really think with this first site
Yeah.
rotation of Pulse on defense, it might just determine the whole match. If Pulse go 3-0, we could potentially be seeing a very quick matchup because, as you also
Yeah.
said, they've won both their attacks. They're not like a lot of teams where they have a great defensive half and they begin to crumble on the attack. But we saw them continue that pace on the attack. Unfortunately, the pace of this broadcast, it's going to have to be stunted a bit because we're going to have a brief pause while we just wait for
Yay.
one or two players to join the lobby. So we'll be right back.
Big Siege.
Don't go anywhere. It'll be very quick. When we'll be back, we'll probably just be back in the map by the time you get back.
Yeah. Wait, Joe, we should both say we're back when it transitions. We're back!
We're back!
Yay!
That was his idea to both.
We're back. We're
I don't
back.
want any responsibility for that. We're heading into this map though. Heading into the ban phase.
Finally.
It's been a while. We've had a bit of downtime between these two matches, but we're heading into the ban phase now, and the first attacker taken off the board will be
Hey.
Flores. So
Makes sense.
that is, yeah. I mean, Cafe can be quite a sort of hassle to clear, and the Flores can often be used to just take out a lot of utility with just one operator. So that can actually be used to sort of bypass a lot of the clear. Without the Flores, it forces the attacking teams to be a bit more coordinated, sacrifice a bit more fragging utility for just burning out sort of like keeper barricades, ADSs, one-man magnets, and such. And Ying will also go off the board, so that's again going to kind of be more of a comfort thing, like it was all the way back.
Yeah.
Just twist your mind back to Clubhouse. Ying can be very annoying because it can essentially allow the attack to just win and execute with a very short amount of time by just spamming the site with a load of flashbangs. So you don't want to deal with that. You just ban off the operator, and it allows your kind of early game roam to be more impactful. Defensive bans.
Yeah, I like the Flores actually, because if you think about Cafe, that was like the first time we saw Flores in pro play was actually a Cafe map. And it was, I believe, in EUL. I'm remembering this. I'm going way far back in the brain banks. It was the BDS one when Alem said
they loved Flores.
They loved Flores. They thought that he was the strongest operator in the game, and they just kept playing him on Cafe and winning so like easily. That was when they 7-0'd Empire, wasn't it? Or am I misremembering that?
That lines up because Empire had like a really bad start to a stage, then they did really well afterwards.
And that was on Cafe. The BDS 7-0 was on Cafe as well. So if my memory serves me right, that all lines up. Flores very strong, and I'll let you talk about Azami and Solus. Although we don't really need to talk about it much.
The Azami almost goes hand in hand with the Flores. Obviously, these two are most like highly banned operators. The thing to really point out though is if you're going to ban Flores, Azami gets exponentially stronger because you can just apply so many of those barricades, defend them with a variety of one-man magnets, Jaeger ADSs, and the Flores would be the one kind of thing that just ignores that and destroys the barricades. Obviously, no Flores, it would make Azami very strong, so the opposing team is just ban off everything. Solus going off the board, strong all the time. And as to what you were saying in that pre-match, we've gone to one of those typical tertiary sites here. Dining
is that primary site. It's so this team intrigues me so much because we see this be their primary site, and they don't really go to kitchen. It's like it's the site they avoid, which is just mind-boggling, to be honest.
Yeah, the big issue with that is, though that can net you a win at the start of the season because it's such an unknown thing as well. But if you keep playing it, specifically because this is a weaker site, if there are more just avenues to get in, there's the whole sort of top floor conundrum to deal with. There's so much vertical to the attack, so if the attack can kind of read into that and sort of know the general playstyle, it might not actually be as strong as it was in that 7-1 match, and that's the thing that Pulse Nation really have to sort of be aware of here.
Yeah, absolutely. They need to be cautious about being counter-stracted, because obviously we said it coming into this map, like them Tropics choosing to go to Cafe here, they've got to have counter-stratted this, or like, because otherwise it makes no sense. It actually makes zero sense. It was a 7-1 victory, so dominant. If it was like a 7-5, you're like, maybe, but no, 7-1 against a good team, I don't understand why we're here. I don't get it.
Yeah, and well, immediately we kind of see a little bit of strat there. That is just used to reflect on the 8, just high angle, destroy the mirror window. Doesn't say that though, Config gets taken down by the Jaeger playing in that position, so they're clearly not too deterred by the window getting shut down.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure as to where the Buck was playing. I'm assuming it was over by New Bow, but Yeah, good first pick for the side of Pulse Nation. However, you do have Zaro sneaking through the bar. Drones will spot out Lexinio, and the kill comes through in kind. Tropics find a man back, find a second as well, as now AJ falls, so Wamai being taken down on that top floor. HE is regressing now in through Cigar, is going to be going towards the shot, trying to find almost a flank here, and actually does spot the ace, but the shots don't quite land. He's going to get swung from Noob out. Rise with that kill, taking them down. It's now a 4 versus 2. Tropics look very, very strong here inside of the first round.
Yeah, Pulse Nation just getting completely picked apart in this roam game. This extended hold is working out at all. They're just banging on the doors of the site. They get one, likely get a second. Beans at least gets an exit frag. But overall, I think it's very clear from that round that they've done their homework, right? Tropics, they have figured out how to defend these unorthodox sites, and that's the real big problem here, because that's kind of what Pulse Nation were relying on in that 7-1. They only went to, well, according to you, they only went to Kitchen once and they lost it. So if you are now getting counter-stratted on these tertiary sites, it doesn't bode well for your overall sort of grand plan. They're going up to Bar and Cocktail now, which is a little bit more played, but at the same time, it's not the strongest. It certainly has its glaring issues with that skylight, with the power of repelling generally on that top floor. So again, they sussed out that roam so easily. It doesn't necessarily fill with confidence, because the attack is actually going to be pretty similar, despite there being an entirely separate floor with the bomb. You're still going to have to clear out that bomb altogether. So this could kind of start to sort of... It could go wrong with Pulse Station.
Yeah, and I just think, actually mapping it out in my head, they must have played... For them to have lost Kitchen, they must have played it more than once, just thinking about how the maths works out. But yeah, they only played it once, but it was a win. If I'm doing the maths correctly, I think it's actually mathematically impossible for them to have only played Kitchen once and lost it, with it being a 5-1 half. Either way, they only played Kitchen once, and it seemed that was their tertiary, because like because they won reading and they won top floor. No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so again, a bit of a reluctance to Kitchen their tertiary. Again, questionable, but you know, we move into this round and we move into a very slow-moving first minute, actually. Just the attack gaining a bit more control. Obviously, this is the top floor site, so there's more focus on defending this top floor than if it was that mid-floor. If it was that mid-floor defense, like we saw in round number 1. However, Dicker almost finds the head there of the Ash. That's Rise, but no shots actually land. And again, very, very slow from the attack, but they are gaining progress. They're gaining that progression, and they are going to be able to explode at a moment's notice. But shut down by HE from the 90, from the pixel position even. Relic's going down. And we kind of settle into this 4 versus 5 with, again, just a bit more map control being gained by the attack of Tropics.
Yeah, I think a big thing to point out here, though, is Bean playing on a very aggressive angle on white. That being said, Zaro pushing into Cigar, but he thinks better of it. But Beans can still have an impact there. Those Fenrir gadgets, I saw what placed early on. And they should blind the attackers as they go out of red. Well, Rise actually ends up getting a pick instead, so Fenrir is still not finding as much impact. Instead, Pompey gets blinded while his teammate is taken out, so the attacker is still getting isolated in gunfights, picked apart. Beans then finds the board and the weapon of 2 versus 4.
Major Shield versus 3 by Kozari, though, taking down Lexinio, and Beans actually went for a jump out there. That was where his kill came from. Does get back inside the map, but that means it's a 2 versus 2 on the bomb site. And Tropics know this, however, they're not able to capitalize. AJ finds one, traded back by Kozari again, but here comes the FNAT. The Dreadmine blinding up that attacker, allows time for Beans to rotate up to this site. And now, too many angles to watch here. The proximal one going off. Dicker tries to find the swings. Beans as well is going to be providing some support. Kozari pre-fire round finds it, but the 1-speed sledge not quick enough. The angle's being held, and that's Beans being able to shut things down. Pulse Nation, a very close second round, but they come through.
I really respect the strength to not say, I really respect the sort of integrity from you not to say the angle's beansing held there. The pun was very much ahead of you, but like I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But the defenders, they find a map they find a round on the board, and it's actually on one of those more primary sites there. So it's still by no means sort of hopeless for them yet. They had their sort of pocket pick of mining library, dining library even, sort of get picked apart, but once they go to something more well-known, their defense is certainly good. Shout out to Bean there for just sticking on that white stairs position, going for that jump out. He waited a very long time, but it ended up paying well and gets the final kill. On top of that, that's nice just seeing the new operator actually find some value. Yeah, that red mine's there, really sort of putting in the effort, stalling out that attack at multiple points there. But now we're going on to that fabled kitchen. That was their apparently their only last.
No, I think that's actually wrong. If I've maths it out, I don't think you can actually. I don't think the rotation works out in a 5-1-half. Pardon?
Didn't they lose it once?
Yeah, but if they lost it once, they must have played it another time because it's a 5-1. The rotations don't quite work out.
It's still the only one they lost, though, isn't it? So there's still
no. I don't think it is. I don't think it's mathematically possible because like if they must have won a full rotation. They must have 3 rounds in a row there somewhere.
But they still lost one. They still lost one.
Oh, I thought you meant they still lost one. But I
still lost one round. That one round was kitchen. Okay, anyway.
I don't think it was kitchen. Oh my god.
Okay. Anyway. We have a very extended round here. Aichi all the way up top, just drawing the attention of drones. There's attackers on repels. Going a fuse being brought by config is. It's interesting here to see if we can find value. They've still got to fight their way down 2 floors to really get into position.
AJ, oh, I thought they was gonna whiff that. Okay, config cleared it though. Fair enough, but Zoro did get taken down by Aichi, like you mentioned earlier on. Rotates back. Disgusting kill from Aichi. Relic went down, caught out though. Kazari finding Aichi. It can't pre-fire through that castle barricade, so 2 versus 3, meaning that this pressure being opened up, Beans, Dicker, and Latinio are on this site, and well, the hard breach charge, not good for a soft hatch at all, just shot out through the floor.
Yeah, and config, I'm not even sure we're going to be seeing the fuse charges here. We do, just to clear out the freezer, never mind,
unlucky.
Heated out. So, I don't know if we're actually going to see value from this operator. He still has a good gun if the utility just doesn't end up working out, but he can cause a lot of chaos onto the site. There's nothing to stop him vertically, other than just wild spraying through the ground. And get hit with these buster charge, just clearing. Likely just giving him some space to actually place down one of those charges on the hatch. It's a hard breach charge, it's going to last a lot longer than a soft breach, but in fact he goes all the way down to the wall. He's broken off the mute jammers and given them to the site, but it's a very small hole, and I think just due to the nature of the hard breach, it actually is a vault hole, which just gives them even less freedom walking in. So you're not only going against a one-man advantage on the defense, you're also being funneled in through the various entrances.
Yeah, Klazari's pushing down red though. The proximal one will give away the position, but the pre-fire is there, shutting down Latinio, and that allows config to maybe sneak in through freezer uncontested. But the shotgun shot comes through. Klazari with another, and now it's just Beans on low HP. SMG-11 at short range does its work. With 20 seconds left, there's still plenty of time for Klazari to do this properly. However, he does not have the diffuser. That was in the hands of config, and that is now outside of that freezer breach, which means he just has to push in here. Beans cannot get too aggressive. He's on this close angle. SMG-11 opting not for the shotgun. Now Joe's it, but the swing comes through. Klazari's too far away, and the shots from the attacker successfully played by Tropics, and that's a missed opportunity for Pulse Nation there. That's getting a bit too antsy from Beans.
Yeah, I really thought Beans had that. I think if he just took the SMG-11 and sprays, maybe they didn't fully realize how low the Jackal was, but 1 or 2 bullets at that range from the SMG-11, combined with the higher fire rate, just pre-firing that, he would have won that round very much likely. But a nice clutch from Klazari there. It was a nice clutch from the attack in general. He was really just putting in the work. It certainly looked like a very defending favored situation, just with the nature of the entry points of the site and that map advantage. But Lazari really did put in work. He's put in work all match. 7-1 here for Jackal, and he's just sitting there. No more fuse this time. Never mind. I thought they were going to go for the more sort of useful, dynamic pick of the book, but we've gone straight back to fuse. I guess they've clearly decided, Tropics, that there is more potential for Operator here. You can destroy a lot if 3 members of your team aren't killed within the first minute and a half of gameplay. So it's going to be very sort of interesting what ends up coming with that, if they end up just tearing the site apart with the cluster charges, or maybe just config loses in the roam clear, because once again we do have players on the defense going on all floors. Castle AJ on the top floor could potentially get another early pick as he did last time. It's going to be just a difficult roam clear for the Fuser.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do see HE in well, at least HE is still up here. I'm assuming AJ will also be sort of around this area like we saw in that previous round. However, the Almighty position has been spotted out by the drones, which means that theoretically he shouldn't be getting a pick here. AJ, again, yeah, AJ is also up here, just over on the cocktail side. And that 9th position, again, being watched. HE, the wallbang's nearly come through the barricade, but he's able to just dip away.
The default comes up.
Okay, default comes up. They've managed to open up Freezer, though. They also, this time, the Ace isn't dead, which means that he's able to open up that wall. It's now a walkable hole, not a vault hole. Even better.
Yeah, that certainly opens up the sort of opportunities for the attack a lot more. It's just overall more advantageous taking a gunfight while you're walking, and Lazari might show us that in action here as he's peeking on that curve. He's just fortified himself in the corner, stood up, thrown on him. The position is known, but it's still going to be a difficult gunfight to win, as the Ash will likely have to vault through that window unless Lazari goes all the way past the double door to get into the single door on Coates, but he won't. He just sticks out of the position, and Dicker ends up actually dying to the gridlock. So it's another position played and another good step for the attack here in this roam clear. It has actually turned out to be a horizontal clear, despite the sort of the vertical nature of the operators being picked.
Yeah, Lazari also putting pressure towards that site double door. AJ finding config. Fuse now gone, but Zoro's found a double. That's HE going down. Late Senior with a trade. Rise going down, and Beans gets in on the action. 50 seconds left on the round, and it's another 2 versus 3. This time it's Zoro and Lazari against 3 defending players. Lazari walking in, finds another pick for himself. That's 8 kills now in the game, but it's another one of those situations. Diffuser is lost towards that freezer breach, and they just have to push in through the site. Double Zoro, a brilliant read. That's AJ being felled, and now Beans left again in a 1 versus 2. Finds it first, yet again. This time it's Zoro to try and find the clutch. Shotgun out. 15 seconds left. This window being toyed with. And there it is, Beans with the final kills here. And that's Pulse Nation. We're up 2-2. We've tied it up.
I don't understand why you're bringing the fuse there if you're going for a horizontal clear. I don't know if the roaming presence just scared Tropics off, or if it was just a sort of heat of the moment call by the IGL, but surely you're better off bringing the book there, right? You can breach open that soft wall into sight, just give yourself more avenues to get in, rather than funneling through that freezer position that has now twice caused you to drop that diffuser and really sort of spoiled the round for the attack. But they pick the fuse, and for whatever reason, they go for a very horizontal take, despite the utility that they've been given. Especially the single cluster charge on top of that. I mean, I like the impact EMPs being used there massively, sort of speeds up the clear it needs to freeze up, but it's still the freezer breach didn't do much at all. You know, they had so many holes there, so much invested on that hood, comparatively little result. They don't have to worry about that though, because now they're taking the bar site. We're seeing Nook here, which immediately sort of suggests that we were going to see vertical play. That's just a very quick push upstairs, just relying on that gadget that kind of seals her from the cameras, makes her go a little bit quieter. And we're finally seeing config on the book, not the fuse, so that makes me a bit.
Yeah, Fenrir being brought along though by Beans, and we saw some great use of this the last time we saw the site, round number 2, and indeed this operator will be played again, but it was very scrappy in that round number 2. It came down to just a 1 versus 1 that Beans was able to win out. This is enough at work. We can see this gadget just being activated, hiding from the default cameras, but there's absolutely nobody here to contest. The closest player on this floor is AJ, just inside of reading, and he's being very cautious, now rotating up the stairs himself. Another player drops down the hatch to assist them inside a laundry. And there goes the Twitch drones. They know there's presence on this floor, at least only by drones, and that should give at least a little bit of information to Beans, who tries to go for the swing, but Klazari shuts it down. Look at this flank from AJ, though.
Yeah, this flank from AJ could be really good. I wouldn't expect it. The drone does get shot, though, and that's the real difference between the attack and the defense, as like Senio gets taken down there. But I mean, I really like about that nut push is just the little things. They use the Twitch camera, but there's just suddenly a flurry of kills, and now it's a 2 versus 2. I believe there's still a bit of presence on the first floor and a nade for Klazari, but he has to be careful of AJ here, because if he is caught with that nade out, he has nothing to defend himself, and he will get taken down, but it's actually AJ, and that suddenly gives a lot more leeway for the attack. They can potentially go for vertical nades, or at least team up and get that man advantage, focus on a single area, and I think Dicker, he's potentially walking into a 2 versus 1 here, and Bizarre just cleans him up. Really nice play from the Nook there, a 3k on that round.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a tough one because that flank was coming through so well, and AJ maybe just got a little bit too big for his boots, I guess. Tries to take that other fight instead of assisting Dicker on the bomb site, making it a 2v1 upstairs. But, you know, you can't... Obviously, hindsight, and we have that top-down view and everything. He wasn't really to know. But again, it just feels like there's a slight bit of decision-making there that goes the other way, and that round plays out very, very different. But again, we have that insight. They don't necessarily have that.
It's just the minute decisions that determine these rounds. Yeah, I just really like it's something so simple as sending the Twitch drone to destroy that camera. Yeah. Then it also doesn't really suss out your play that much, because obviously if a Twitch drone is just happily driving through that, they're probably going to just want to destroy the camera anyway. So choosing to use that instead of the Nook, it's just the little things that gives the Nook that little bit of extra element of surprise, which ends up winning the fight. So I just really like that it's sprung that whole roam clear into action, despite the kind of bloodbath on both sides. But we're going back to the site, and I believe the operator picks are the exact same. Obviously, Bizarre is going to lose a little bit of strength there. No, and they're going to be paying a little bit more attention to the stairways, I'd assume anyway, which potentially limits the freedom that he had last round to just move around that ground floor, get into it.
That's the thing as well, Beans kind of had the read, just didn't really pre-fire far enough to the right of his screen. Klazari's actually spotted out AJ here. They know of this bottom floor roam. The default camera, though, might have spotted out the Nook himself, and, well, with that default camera being shot, they're definitely going to be aware of this position now. But it's just a waiting game. Both these players holding these angles as action happens elsewhere above. More things being opened up, still finishing their site setup a little bit. Interesting to be a minute into the round, but yeah, Rise has opened this window up as well, and just look at AJ and Klazari here. Config's on the drone, just supporting the teammate downstairs, watching to see if any rotation comes through, but AJ will just be happy to wait here. Now finally does spring into action. Here's the drone go through, knows that the jig is now up. The shots are a bit scrappy from both sides. FMD9 continues to spray, and AJ walks straight into those bullets, unfortunately for him. But great, well, very well played by Klazari to sort of keep that endurance, keep that discipline, and just hold down the trigger there. With 100 seconds left, the pressure is mounting as HE now looks to be the next player in the firing line.
Yeah, right. Holding the angle on the one light in picks up. Incredibly difficult to get out of that position, and he gets annihilated. Config as well on the round. 4 versus 2. Favorite Tropics to potentially lock off the 4-2 mark. Izinho is in a very exposed position. I don't know think the attacker must have been killed just as right now, but now it's Kicker left in his 1v2 alone on Cocktail.
And the site goes to silence. Bit of space to breathe. Bit of time to regather. Obviously, Diffuser not in the hands of the attack, but Drones, they absolutely know where this castle is playing. 2 kills in the round so far. Needs to make it 4. And the reposition has been noted. Config shuts it down, and it's a 4-2 half. Tropics very strong on this attacking side, and it's actually surprising that we actually got this far. Obviously, you know, we mentioned that they've got to have the sort of counter strategies, but they absolutely did.
The homework has clearly paid off there. And the thing I really liked about Tropics in that round, before we sort of change pace and focus on this side swap, I really liked how they were very, very disciplined in that round. You had them just holding drones, waiting, just holding all their angles, not getting too aggressive, providing a blind spot for the defense to come in. You saw that with that roam clear. Config just not moving that drone, waiting for, I believe it was Zaro on the gridlock to send in an additional one, just keeping that one attacker safe. And then that all sort of comes back full circle in that 1 versus 2. They were not eager at all to finish that kill. They got on their drones, they made sure to isolate exactly where he was, just so they could be 100% certain in winning that round. Really nice play from the topic, and I think that kind of mindset is going to help them a lot on Cafe. Sort of standing your ground, stalling a bit for time is really good here. Channel that into their roam game, into especially today's position as well, just holding your angles as we actually see the rotate being reinforced. It's quite interesting. Obviously, it begs the question of why that utility was used to begin with to open up the hole. There's a corridor right there, but some call must have been made mid-round there. Perhaps not until extension being utilized at all.
One thing I'm looking at is beans on this Amaru. I don't know where it'll come into play, but it certainly will. Obviously, on the drones right now, they're sort of keeping an eye. They've got information on the player that's on that sort of heaven balcony over by Cocktail. They know that there's someone floating around there. Might just be used to sort of flush out that player. Flashbangs as well. Very, very useful utility to sort of be that one-man roam clear. And Klazaro's been spotted out on this drone here. Tries to get a bit of an angle through the new hatch, and Ashley Beans just hops up onto the roof. Gonna use maybe the skylight, try to find another angle of approach. But in general, we're not seeing anything too flashy right now from Pulse Nation.
Yeah, and that is just weird because it's such an aggressive line of sight.
Never mind.
The red stairs, but the senior to the rescue just takes out his would-be killer, saves the sledge in that round, and that's finally a bit of action. But it comes quite late into the round, especially when you have an Ash, you have an Amaru from this lineup, and yet just no real gunfights early on. Klazaru still going to be a stick here at Rise. Looking to maybe even re-aggress here. Klazaru gets a kill in that mining position, goes a little bit further in evening out the man count. It's still a 3 versus 4 as Beans has now dropped into line. But to set Rise, he's retaking the vertical. It's going to be crucial if there's even any attackers remaining here. But the clear is going down, the clear is going fast as, well, Rise is just sort of left in the dust here. There's only one defender left on the ground floor. Just make that non-Rise is a trap on the second floor, and the defender potentially get on site, but Dicker, the diffuser carrier gets taken down.
Yeah, well, at least the thing is they now know of this position. Rise is going to get cleared out of here, at least you assume. Diffuser has been regathered by HE and it just gets out of dodge, and well, they might just try and get to the bomb site. Rise has dropped though, gets a wall round to HE, who was already so low. Beans goes down as well. It's a triple kill, and AJ now has to rotate back up these stairs. And the thing is, Rise is watching the Warden. SMG-12, oh, the shots are a little bit scrappy, and they don't quite land. He lands the shot though, finally in the end. What was that, 1v3, 1v4? It gets all of those kills, shuts them all down, and that's Tropics. 5 rounds to 2 now, firmly in the lead.
I just don't know how that happens. You do great at clearing the room, fantastic. You leave Rise just sort of twiddling his thumbs, baiting his team on the second floor. You defuse a player goes down, you don't know Rise is up there. Fair game, completely fair. But the fact that the rest of Pulse didn't then mobilize to deal with him, they just allowed Rise to sit up there, drop, and then get those picks. There was no sort of concise group effort to dislodge him. It was just single gunfight after single gunfight. They tried to ignore him, it failed, and it all just falls apart there. It was a great start to a round, but Rise in particular just snatches it from them.
Yeah.
Now, they're going to be defending this top floor. Completely different setup. We're probably not going to have a very extended drone, maybe one or two on the ground floor just to stop any further actually on the sledge. So there is potential for sort of Pulse to thrive again here, just clearing out those players, but it's not going to be anywhere near as easy because they're going to have this close in the side to actually just see more of these things. So this is once again another opportunity for Tropics to put rounds on the board, potentially get to a 6-2 here, which really puts the pressure on Pulse.
Yeah, this is kind of a role reversal of that last week game. This time it's Pulse Nation who are kind of being outclassed in most ways by the other team. Tropics look so good here. And one thing to note, Klazari on 13 kills. The all-time record is obviously 23. That's from Lego Man. Team Mystic all the way back in Season 3. But, you know, looking at the third place for kills is actually 15. Highest kills in the season so far is 19 from Smekarito. But if this game gets a bit closer, Klazari could actually surpass that.
Yeah, I mean, Klazari's team are just winning too fast for this record to actually be touched here. I'm sure he's not too bothered, but he might be bothered by that.
Is that a flop?
Oh dear.
Oh no, that's that's not ideal at all, actually. So Klazari now fifth death in the game. Still on that 13 kill count. Still opportunity to make it up to that higher level. But it does mean that Tropics are at that early disadvantage as we see more of the clear just coming through. Dicker only just getting to the building, was on drone duty for a lot of the beginning of this round. Config retaking a position up here over by Pixel. Obviously that cigar lounge is such a crucial position when you're defending on this top floor.
I think it's kind of misleading to even call it a clear. I think all the defenders are situated up here, and well, Zara gets.
I was trying to be nice.
So yeah, it kind of seems like Pulse Nation have been chasing ghosts here, just getting control of land that was never really objected to. So that is going to allow HE to try for these vertical nades, but there's no intel. Look, a blind nade into storage won't catch anything. And
they had a ping on the shield, though.
Oh, was there a shield? My bad.
They had a ping on the shield, they just, the vertical nade didn't even connect to it. So
they don't need nades because Zara's just been taken down. I was going to say the attacking pace might be stalled here, but they're actually kicking into 5th gear now. Bullets exchanged by Relic and Aichi, and taken down by Relic, still in the forward position.
Yeah, Aichi rotated below, but it's Rise who finds Beans. However, another vertical nade coming, this time does connect, and that is going to be Rise falling. However, again, they don't have the diffuser on a 2 versus 2. There's only 25 seconds left. Relic is continuing to be a nuisance. Over on this shop side, has the diffuser on that breach, obviously, and EMP comes through. That's a lovely kill, SMG-11 in hand. And now Leitinho, only 10 seconds left to try and get it done, and this should be another round for Tropics. They should be getting match point here, because Leitinho just has absolutely no time to get anything done, and now no life to do it with either. Relic's stalwart defense of this cigar shop, and Tropics clan, they now have that match point, and it's come so damn early for a team that was completely outclassed Yod last week. Now they're in the other boat.
Yeah, it's really just wild that we're at this scoreline. We've seen sort of 2 complete reversals today. Yod got just stomped week 1, bounce back today.
We could see another 7-2.
Pulse just completely annihilate Yod. Now they really just be being slaughtered here back on Cafe. So really just congratulations to Tropics. They have done their homework. We're probably likely seeing the true impact of a good analyst or a good coach. Even if it's one of the players doing that, just good coaching and pre-match work here. Because they looked out all of the sort of the holds employed by Pulse, and they've been very good at dealing with these attacks as well. They've just thoroughly read into their opponent, and it has produced incredible results. Of course, that being a thing, close it out there. Before we even get to overtime, Tropics have already a sort of small victory in this match, but I'm sure they're wanting all three now. 6-2 up as we go to this tournament site that, well, Pulse were making it work in the previous match, didn't really find any success this match. So, I mean, if Tropics have even managed to improve upon Pulse's sort of secret weapon of these tournaments, we can see a very quick match going ahead.
Yeah, Rise is on the spawn peak. Have been spotted out. Shots come through both directions, but only about 20 HP done total. However, 18 rotates around the other side, traded out by HE. And it's that quick action. This time, we actually are seeing, the past few rounds, and actually for the most of the first half, it was very, very slow. A problem we saw on Clubhouse as well this time, or at least this round, we've seen some early action. But the rest of the defense aren't engaging off of that. That was sort of just one tactic. Rise was the only player sort of acting on that, maybe trying to trade himself out, and indeed did that. So that's kind of mission accomplished for Rise. Unfortunate not to get to there, but again, trading yourself out is the bare minimum in terms of that spawn peak being worth it, and he has done that.
Yeah, and I mean, it goes without saying he's on the defense, so even man count basically always favors the defense there, because the attackers, they still have to work against the setup, work against the timer. So Rise, he's not put his team in too bad of a situation. Obviously, looking back on it in hindsight, we'd rather he just disengage after that first pick, be that solid man up, but a trade is a trade, and it can still potentially end up winning them this round, because that's the EMP's gone, the gridlock's gone, flanking is going to be a much bigger threat. But being said, I don't think Tropics are playing particularly extended away from sight. Klazari in this train position, holding his ankles. There are a few on that top floor, so there could potentially be a bit of a backstab being formulated late into the round, but overall, that other pick just cements that.
Yeah,
thoroughly.
It's still in bathroom now.
Yeah,
still in the Pixel bathroom. AJ does find one, that's Relic falling before being traded out by Klazari, but there is the Ash player running in. Beans finds that pick, nearly flicked on, but not able to find it. Config, however, on the top floor, still a nuisance. Dicker now, it has been in so many of these clutch situations, these 1v2s, spotted on the default cam as well. These defenders, they're gonna know where he's playing, and this site setup is just so open, obviously, because there's no vertical. They've opened up all of the walls there to try and make sure that they have an idea of whatever the attack will be doing on that fireplace side. Zoro and Config, they don't need to get too aggressive. They can just play above here. However, hard breach charge does allow Dicker to actually get into this planting position. Config will be running through. Hatch drop has been heard, and Dicker's electing to take the gunfight. It's not going to work out. Zoro shuts it down. And speaking of shut down, Pulse Nation, they're going to need a defibrillator, because there's absolutely no life left in them. Tropics have absolutely run away with it here. And this is, again, we talked about a new look Yod in map 1. That was a good thing. This time, new look Pulse, not very good. But again, there were holes last week, but Yod couldn't capitalize. Tropics, they absolutely have.
We're going to have to start putting out missing posters. Where is the week 1 Pulse Nation? They're just nowhere to be seen. Where have they gone? But honestly, as you know, I'm a very sort of, I like focusing on the negatives, but Tropics, they've clearly shown that their pre-match sort of work there was incredible.
Well done.
They read into the sites perfectly there. They shut down the whole sort of pocket strategy of playing the tertiary site. I don't think they attempted it at all after that first round. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, they didn't.
It was a very sort of good job on that attack, just dealing with the variety of sort of strange plays being brought by Pulse Nation. And as they go into their defense, they maintained the sort of aggression, the pressure. It was a fantastic showing from Tropic Clan there.
Yeah, and another thing to mention as well is we saw in some of the rounds it didn't quite go their way. They had those mid-round adaptations as well to the Tropics. Pulse Nation didn't necessarily have that, so that IGLing in the game is also a massive factor as to why we saw the scoreline go the way it did. And we also only saw 18 rounds of play today across 2 matches. Both of these games were 9-rounders, 7-2s. And we've seen some high action. Kazari not quite able to get up to that, not able to get up to that kill record. Tropic Clan just won too quickly. They won far too quickly.
You really, if you want to be breaking those records, you probably have to sacrifice points and go to overtime. So I'm sure he's not bullied at all. You've got a 3-point, just 3 points there. You've also really increased or helped with your round differential. Plus 5. Yep, 7-2. Yeah, plus 5. Incredibly good for the standings. You know, because there's so many teams in a group that potentially those sort of small margins of round differential could be huge come the end of group stage. So really good from Tropics there.
There's now 4 teams on 3 points in Group D. Of the 6 teams in this group, 4 of them are now on 3 points.
It's the round diff. That's what matters the most. And Pulse Nation, they've really sort of they've got to take that on the chin. Really, they've been hit with a haymaker punch there by Tropics. They just have to get up. They have to learn where they went wrong and really just sort of channel that going into the rest of this group stage, because there's plenty more matches to be played.
Yeah, absolutely. There's still 3 more weeks of action here with ESA Cup. We will be back with a stream tomorrow. That is going to be that third play day of Group A. Team Synergy versus Odessa Esport, Kanji versus Eagle Empire, and then closing out the day with Pira versus Team Misclick, a game that I'm pretty certain you don't want to miss that game. That will be a banger. Team Misclick, sort of Titanic team. They haven't. They're 1-1 right now. Pira, new to ESA Cup, 14-4 in terms of round diff in the group right now. Absolutely running away with things. There's a lot in tomorrow's games. We'll be over halfway through that group as well. It will really be starting to shape up which 4 teams go through to that playoff Swiss bracket and which 2 teams get eliminated here in the group stage. All of that to come, but not today. We are going to round out the stream here. I've been Pasta. I've been joined by Pooble over there. We've had a hot Nix as our...
Wrong way.
Wrong way?
Wrong way. You pointed the wrong way.
My camera's changed round. I've been pointing that way the entire stream to see you.
You gotta be paying attention to these things.
That's crazy. Okay, over there. Pooble's over there. We've had a hot Nix spectating behind the scenes. Nanos as well, being a wonderful, wonderful producer today. And despite a couple issues with teams and forfeits and whatever, we've run pretty smoothly. So all of that credit goes to the behind the scenes people. We just shout in a microphone. So thank you all very much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for more season 6. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.